Right, welcome back to the show. This is the newspaper review segment. As usual, this show is live from our studios at number 48 Swanika Street in Abiling, but also in 46 other African countries via satellites in some parts of Europe and, of course, South America on the internet. Join us at facebook.com/Pan-African Television. That stream should start shortly. Also youtube.com/Pan-African Television. Be a part of today's conversation. 055-991-8902, 055-991-9802. That is the number to which you can send in your WhatsApp text and, of course, normal text messages. I'll be more than glad to receive your contributions. Before I introduce my guests, though, these are the topics that we have tabled for today's discussion. 4 MP seats ruling. Supreme Court gives reasons for decision. This story is on the front page of today's edition of the daily graphic newspaper. When you pick it, it's boldly on there. And I know that there's a lot to talk about as far as this particular issue is concerned. The latest development from the Supreme Court. You know, the ruling I think was on Tuesday, but we had to wait for 2 days, 48 hours before they they put out their justification or reasons for which there was that 5-2 decision in favor of the plaintiff, the Member of Parliament for the Futu constituency, Honorable Afenyo Markin. And so we shall be exploring that particular conversation. And also, EC begins ballot papers distribution. The Electoral Commission of Ghana, they are beginning the ballot papers distribution. We have some 23 days more to the December 7 polls. We are all waiting with bated breath. I can't wait. I'm going to vote, and I hope you would too. If you don't vote, if you don't take that decision, someone else would take that decision for you. So I'll implore you to, on the 7th of December, go out there and make sure you vote for who you think would be best to govern or rule this country. Right. I've been joined this morning by Mr. Derek Ajay. It's always a pleasure, always a delight to have him here on the show. Mr. Derek, good morning.
Good morning, and I hope you will join me in mourn for Ghana's democracy.
I see you clad in black this morning. Yes. Is that the reason behind your choice of apparel?
Well, first I lost a very good friend, a stalwart of the fight for the lands of Accra and the language of the people of the region, the salt of Songo and all that. Nayumo is gone. She'll be laid to rest tomorrow, and so we're mourning her. But I think that I joined all Ghanaians in mourning Ghana's democracy and the judicial system on the back of the verdict that's been turned out by the Supreme Court. Reasonings given, reasonings bizarre, and some absurd.
Right. I've also been joined by Kujo Aferi of the Convention People's Party, the CPP's parliamentary candidate for Okre. Is that the name? The Okre constituency. And it's been a while we had him. It's been a few months, maybe 2-3 months since we last had him on the show. Good morning, sir. I hope you're fine.
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Great.
It's nice being on the show.
Great.
Good morning to viewers.
Right. Mr. Usu has just joined us. Yellow Army.
It's a movement. It's a movement.
Unfortunately, Monday you weren't here.
No, I was in Takrady doing the Lord's work there, and I can tell you that. Let me greet the people.
But Fifi Oforiatta was actually here. And
he did justice to that. Fifi would definitely. He's one of the people. You know, that is why when you are accusing the Oforiatta family, you have to be a bit cautious because he is an Oforiatta and then heavily sidelined by the Danado administration. In fact, he's one of those people that was a victim of this administration. So, yet his name is Oforiatta. You understand?
Yeah. And you'd actually mistake him for the president.
No, when he speaks, it's like President Kufuor.
You'd mistake him for the president. He looks like him.
He speaks like him.
Speaks like him. Just like that. So when
like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Must be a duck.
No, but this time I said that.
So when it came to that conversation on the statue, I asked him, will you be speaking on this particular matter? Because
the statue looks more like him than the president.
If he makes the mistake of passing through a few
I'm telling you.
But on the serious note, on those statues issue, you know there are more statues coming up.
Oh,
I'm moving to the Independence Square area, next to the 28th February Square, where the statues of
Sergeant Ajite, Private Odate, and
there's a park coming up with plenty lights.
Really?
You remember initially the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum was supposed to be housing some statues, then Mona and Co, stood up. The CPP, congratulations, stood up to that, and then it didn't happen, and we have the Nkrumah Mausoleum. Look out. Unless they decide to change their minds, and I think we must make sure that they don't put any statue there, because from the 7th of January, whatever statue is put there will just be lost to them. I mean,
I hear that the Western Regional Minister has asked the regional police to deploy men to protect that statue.
At whose cost?
Because people are threatened to pull it down.
No, but I mean, first of all, it's a needless statue. You know where it is. The road network is so terrible. In fact, Takrady and Sekeni has been reduced into a village, a regional capital. You can't find a suitable road in the metropolis. I wonder what Ochedako has been doing there. It's so pathetic. But then, it's good for democracy that many of them are going to vote for Alan Chemantin. So I'm so happy with what and how they have carried themselves as a political party. Let me greet the people of the Western region, the Northern region, the Half region, who are so much into our movement. Remember, the Alliance for Change in Mauritius just won their elections. You know about that? The same Alliance for Change in Ghana. You know, ours is Movement for Change and Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Yeah. We are going to win this election emphatically. We take the presidency, your party can take majority in parliament, and the rest can take minority. We are good to go.
Are you supporting the NDC?
I am supporting Alan Chemantin.
He said his party is going
he's
to...
making a choice.
The presidency is for Alan.
Parliament is for...
When I've gone on the grounds, I know that they will take majority of the seats.
Really?
We're taking not less than 2/3.
Yeah, I mean, unless something...
2/3?
It will be a bit...
No.
I know that...
I'm telling you, you see, Ghanaians have been quiet for a very long time.
Yeah. Okay, like that, they should consider you, but I don't know. I've not been there quite some time.
Come around.
I'll come around and come and campaign for you, because between you and the candidate, NPP's candidate, I see no hope. It's Dangote that is trying to do what but it won't wash. The people of Okere must understand that for all these years, they must change inside.
Thank you.
But you know one thing, Ghanaians know that the maximum that they give any government is 8 years. This one has been a wasted 8 years of our lives, and so definitely the presidency is going to John Mahama. But you see, for John Mahama to...
It is not definitely.
No, please, let me...
No, definitely.
I gave you your due.
No, but it is my time. Are you still going to steal the time?
We've not even started.
So let me just end on this.
You end on that.
Now, you see...
End on this. Wait. Yesterday, the CPP had a beautiful event.
Yeah, I saw it at the campaign.
Wasn't it so nice?
Oh, it was nice.
You should have been there.
No, I was driving past. I couldn't park because of where I was. I wanted to really understand what was going on.
My very good friend.
Let me make a solemn pledge.
My very good friend, and Akosia Frimpoma, your candidate.
Yes.
They didn't invite me to her program, surprisingly. We've been very good friends for decades now. But you see, to the issue, I'm saying that President John Dramani Mahama is going to win and reset Ghana. Truth. Now, second point is that the Supreme Court has made it very clear, and Parliament itself has demonstrated same, that it is going to be impossible for any knife-edge Parliament to carry out any good business going forward. And so we would not need to have a hanged Parliament, as many Ghanaians thought was very useful for, deepening our democracy. Indeed, to reset Ghana, and in fact to, as it were, change the constitution or go past some entrenched clauses, we need 2/3. And so if Ghanaians really want to see progress, it means that we must give Ghana a chance. And that would mean giving the president a 2/3 majority. this election is about not just good versus evil, but life and death. And I'm happy he didn't say that the movement for change was winning, but alliance for change. They must form an alliance, a grand alliance.
So come and join the alliance.
No, you must come under an umbrella. We can't go under a butterfly. We can't go under a butterfly. We can come under an umbrella. Alliance. An alliance multiplies. No, an alliance is one that comes under an umbrella. So the alliance is formed.
Join the alliance.
Exactly.
You join the alliance.
So we are here.
So join the CPP. So that
It's not a chicken.
The alliance is being formed.
The cockerel is at home, providing support, providing guidance and everything. You need an umbrella when there is chaos. But there's chaos in Ghana. Even constitutional chaos.
It hasn't rained cats and dogs yet. So you wait.
No, but it rained this morning, you know.
It's a wild.
Do you know it rained this morning?
Did you need an umbrella to
Yes,
get
I got out really early because I was campaigning already.
it? Did you need an umbrella to get here?
And do you know where you got your cockerel?
Did you two hear the voice of the cockerel?
No, I come from.
Didn't you hear this
I come from
morning?
La. I come from La. Don't forget. I come from La. Because my grand uncle gave you the cockerel. No, but it's my cockerel. I'm taking my cockerel back to La.
Let's get straight into this conversation.
One man like that.
For MPs seat ruling, Supreme Court gives reasons for decision. So 2 days ago, there was that ruling on the seats that were declared vacant by Speaker Bagdon. It was a 5-2 decision. Of course, the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu was part of the 5, and 4 others. Two judges gave dissenting opinions. I'd want to read the dissenting opinion. It says, in their respective dissenting opinions, Justice Johnson and Amadou held that the Supreme Court should not have entertained the writ from the majority leader as it had no jurisdiction over the subject matter, and rather it was the High Court that could determine the matter under Article 99 of the Constitution. For Justice Tanko, the court had in previous cases declined jurisdiction when it was clear that the matter in dispute was within the jurisdiction of the High Court. I, with all due respect, also find the decision an aberration to the established and accepted judicial position of this court, which with profound respect, I hope in no distant further, the resultant usurpation of the constitutional prerogative of the High Court incidental to the majority decision will be reversed. Justice Tanko held. For Justice Johnson, the appropriate procedure was for the suit to have been filed at the High Court, and if there was an issue of constitutional interpretation, then the High Court would make reference to the Supreme Court pursuant to Article 132 of the Constitution. And so these are the dissenting opinions, or these are the reasons for which they dissented, that the Supreme Court of Ghana had no jurisdiction over this particular issue. But if you look at the 5 others who said that yes, Appenyomakin was right in bringing the suit to the Supreme Court, and of course also ruled that the Speaker's action by declaring the 4 seats vacant was unconstitutional, they sought to tell the Ghanaian people that the parliamentarians could only have lost their seats if they moved to another party in Parliament. In summary, that is what they have told us, and this is what we know. It was pretty voluminous. If you look at their explanation yesterday for why, of course, that decision was, rebuffed. Right. So let's get straight into it. I want to start with Derek Ajay, Mr. Derek Ajay, on this one. I know you are particularly not pleased with the outcome of this verdict by the Supreme Court of Ghana. However, what does the it's an interesting question I'm asking. What precedents could this ruling of the Supreme Court set for future, parliaments?
Well, thank you, and once again, a good morning to all Ghanaians. watching, first and foremost. And to the Supreme Court itself, I'd like to say a very good morning to them, because I hope they woke up on the right side of bed today. And that they live long enough to see the outcomes of the verdicts that they give. And hopefully to have a second thought, because these decisions of the courts are subject to review. And so in the hope that sooner than later, and to quote Justice Tanko's minority view, that in not too long from now, they may reverse this, shall I say, unfortunate decision. It sets a pace for indiscipline in our parliament. It undermines parliament in itself, insofar as there are aspects of the jurisdiction that the Supreme Court invoked or sought to indicate had been invoked by the writ that was filed by the minority leader then, Afenyoakin, now hopefully per the ruling no, he's not even a majority leader, because that is not even possible. 137 means even, and so there's no majority or minority side in parliament. And so I think that we would have to revert to the situation where we have two equally matched sides in parliament, and a crybaby who wants to sit on a certain particular side for spiritual reasons. Should that be the business of our courts? I thought the courts don't rule on spiritual matters, but well, so be it. I think also that the absurdity that we are confronted with includes a futuristic and current ruling. In one breath, there is a near futuristic view, and then trying to, as it were, map it onto a current situation. Many people thought, and if I'd start with the MPP's constitution as it applies to at least two of its members who are caught in this 4 vacated seats matter, it's very clear, and it states and uses the word automatic forfeiture of seats. So if the MPP constitution is still alive, and I believe same to be true, because in the instance of at least one of the members who is also caught up in the same unfortunate situation, which is the independent member of parliament, former, or whether he's still the case, and whether he's still the second deputy speaker, Esiama. In his instance, when President Akufo-Addo said that he could not work with him after the NPP deemed him to have crossed carpet into not the NDC, which is another political side, but to have come to the center, which is neutral. Note, it's one thing to cross from
NDC to CPP.
Independent. So this will be the carpet. That is no carpet. Neutral is center. Are you getting the point? Independence will be center too, and then the extreme will be to cross into another party. So in the first instance, when Isiama crossed to the center and became independent, NPP thought it was so vile a move to make that they met as a party at the highest level on the instigation of President Akufo-Addo to have him removed from the party based on their own constitution. And remember that one of the requirements from the political party is to lodge a copy of your constitution with the Electoral Commission, correct? It's not for a joke, it's for a reason. It means that you stand by your constitution, and that is at the very core of your existence. Political parties are not supposed to be enemies. They're supposed to be ideological blocks. Note, and that is why it is important that you do not defraud the people. Even when we go into elections, people see campaigning as just going to get people to vote. No, you are selling an ideology. And that is why manifestos are important. Manifestos form a social contract that you have with the electorate. So when you do not live by your manifesto, which nobody can imprison you for, you've still defrauded the people by false pretenses. By claiming, for example, that you're going to build 350 new schools and not build any, the NPP, per the 2020 social contract, had defrauded the people. When the president says he's going to build 111 hospitals within the space of 18 months during COVID, that was in 2020, and we are in 2024, and he's not finished one, that is still defrauding the people. But then that was not on the back of an election, so we cannot hold him by that per se. But the ideology of the MPP is distinct from that of the movement, distinct from the CPP, which is close to the NDC. In fact, most of the parties are close to the NDC's ideology, that they believe in the people. And that, in fact, the majority of Ghanaians believe that we are social. You know, we must work together and help each other and pull each other up. The MPP is on the other side of the fence. They believe that they must be the ones who have it all and then give handouts as they please. Now, if you go campaigning on an ideology like the MPPs and you cross to either CPP or NDC and so on, you have crossed carpet. Now, when they invoked that, the speaker at that time, on the back of what the MPP had actually put in writing, you see, it's one thing to say something, another thing to put it in writing. They wrote to the speaker and made sure that the gentleman was removed. The gentleman, fortunately, by the doing of God, to prove today the absurdity of the judgment, made that man win the election. The man won on an independent ticket, not the MPP ticket. So to roll back, in the words of the MPP, if halfway was good enough for his removal, halfway back should be good enough for his removal. That's for the independent. And that is where the H kicks in. The H kicks in. Now, if you come to the NDC, and NDC wasn't biased in this instance, NDC found one of its own also guilty of same offense. It didn't say 3 seats should be vacant and then leave the NDC guy out because we are pronouncing on that. We said all 4 are guilty per the constitution. And so it was. Unfortunately, Morrison and the other gentleman from the MPP claims are not equal to Esiama when he did commit the same wrong just 4 years ago. Hypocrisy at its best. Unfortunately, now endorsed by the Supreme Court. Now, you see, at the time that we're waiting on the Supreme Court to come out with its reasoning, most people who were thinking of that futuristic, concept that the offense can be only punished in the next life, believe that if it was not affecting them now, then they must necessarily win their seats in order to be punished, because you cannot vacate a seat that you don't have. So assuming Esiama went this time and didn't win the seat, what seat would he vacate? The current seat or the next seat? Are you getting it? If Emma Morrison, Cynthia Morrison, Emma Morrison is a TV person. It's Cynthia Morrison, and I'm sure Emma would have beat Cynthia, but that's fine. Now, if Cynthia Morrison won her seat, would it mean that upon winning the seat, she vacates that seat automatically? Does it mean that there must be a by-election after she wins? Then why allow her to contest in the first place if it would not constitute causing financial loss to the state? So then there was that, thinking, and you can see the absurdity. But the Supreme Court perhaps had listened to all the shades of opinion in the time that they had given the verdict and the time that they wrote the verdict, and may have actually had the opportunity to, as it were, fine-tune their, in my view. And of course, once they give their judgments, it's subject to critique. And let no one start scaring Ghanaians of contempt and so on. You are contemptuous when you say things in a certain manner. So let us speak freely, because that's what democracy is about. They have passed their ruling. They have had the opportunity to give us their reasoning. I think the reasoning is absurd. Now, what they are saying essentially is that it can apply futuristic, yes, but at the same time within this term, which is current. What it only means is that this sin that these 4 have sinned comes into effect on the 7th of December, in my view. That is what I understand from what they have in the 109-page reasoning. We've read it all. And that is the only conclusion I can come to, because they are not saying that it affects the next life, which means that they don't lose their seats when they win. However, they don't vacate their seats also because they have made that intention known. That intention is not just intention where they have spoken. They have actually put it in writing to the EC. There's a notice of poll which confirms same. The only remedy, and I think there is a remedy to this absurdity,
is for someone to go to the High Court to initiate action against them. But on the basis of the Supreme Court having ruled now, it will be prudent to initiate that process on the 7th or on the 8th after any one of them has been declared a winner. They must vacate Parliament immediately, because then there is no other way out for them. Because if the Supreme Court cannot see the documents at the EC as confirmation of their having, taken action, not intent, but having taken action to cross during the lifetime of the current Parliament, then victory for any one of them, having been confirmed as parliamentary MP elect, should suffice. Unless the Supreme Court would want us to wait till they are sworn in on the 9th of 7th January, then it means that you can only punish the person within seconds, and then the person transits into the next, which would be absurdity of the highest order. I think, and trust me, we will put this constitution to test. We will put this Supreme Court to test as well. They are responsible to the people of Ghana. The Supreme Court is not above the law itself that they interpret. And I'm saying this cautiously, noting that they are human beings. And even the dissenting view shows that there's no unanimity in all of this. And I want to also express another view that has been expressed by very key people in this society. The Stratch boss, Joseph Whittal, has spoken extensively on the Supreme Court's perception of being, one bias, judicial tyranny, judicial whatever. Same also has the National Security Minister, Kandapa, that their penchant for giving unanimity in terms of their votes, especially against the grain, when it is the NPP or the government versus somebody. If you look at the delay in the Dumlevo case, rendering it, useless. If you look at the e-levy, still in abeyance. If you look at the LGBTQ thing that they are still holding on to. I mean, you look at several cases that have come before them which require tenuous judgment. And the speed, and some people refer to it as the indecent haste, within hours, how they were able to empanel and give a decision on a matter that had not even occurred. Because as at the time that the crybaby, what's his name? Oh, thank you. You know the crybaby of our parliament, Afenyo Markin, rushed to the Supreme Court. He was talking about something that was yet to happen. Was he a prophet? Clairvoyant? What was he? And yet the Supreme Court found it necessary. And in the course of the whole case, he did not amend his... in other words, he stuck to the original case that he brought, which had not happened. And even after it happened, he did not amend it. And yet the Supreme Court, which would have had to deal with the original matter, dealt with matters beyond the original matter and gave a ruling on same. Grant them that, because they have a case before them, and in the pleadings that were made, they are making reference to pleadings and evidence that was brought subsequent to the original writ. But I want to say that we, as the NDC, have learned a lesson from this. Not just because Mo Ibrahim has come out with, an index that shows that a very serious dip in our judiciary's perception in Ghanaians' opinion that they are, either corrupt, they are not trustworthy, and so on, and biased, and so on. But if you look at the other, polls, including the Afrobarometer thing, they are deemed to be corrupt, and so on. We've all worked at this in the ANAST number 12 tape, and then the yam, is it yam and sex and yam and goats and light soup, items for verdicts. We've seen all of that. These are human beings, not necessarily attacking this particular Supreme Court or any of the judges, but judges in, extenso have been found, some, to be corrupt. And so, if this Supreme Court wanted to do itself some justice, perhaps, then I think that the verdict, as granted, perhaps, in fact, the reasoning wasn't making sense to a lot of us. And, they have said their bit, and I hope that Tanko's view that was expressed as of the minority view, which in our view should have been the majority view, perhaps speaks more to what Ghanaians were expecting, not just what the MPP was expecting. I'm sure that now the lesson that is to be learned here is that let us not wait on the courts to decide who becomes president of Ghana. And I want to quote the former president, the incoming president of the Republic of Ghana, the one who is going to reset Ghana and set it on the path of real change and reverse the fortunes of this country, the downward spiral that the current administration is taking us. The wasted years will be rolled back, the economy will be restored, the excruciating hardships will be taken away, and so on and so forth. If you look at every sector by sector, health, education, and so on, that will see real progress. Then we must not just give him a majority of 50 plus 1 votes. We must go all out and make sure, especially in the face of a pro-NPP electoral commission that has committed itself to doing the bidding of the NPP over the years. And we've seen, when I say pro-NPP, don't challenge me, we know the members. I can give you each one and the status. If you look at Pia Hene, Tescon, patron, Bossman, the number 2 man, Tescon University of Ghana patron, Jane Mensah, we all know, Jane Mensah was my mate. We know where they all stand. So let us not put anything to chance. And we've seen their actions, by their own actions. If it wasn't for Omane Boama, Tanko Computer, Madi, and others in the election directorate of the NDC who had been vigilant, even compiling the register would have been, a big fiasco. And it's still not out of the woods because they're still keeping Epiadonko dead on the ballot. That is going to yield a lot of small ballots. They don't care. They don't care. I think that Ghanaians must see this as a life and death scenario. Not only give President Mahama upwards of 60%, about let's say 65 minimum percent in terms of the vote. So if they steal even 5%, we'll still end up at 55%, which puts him in the presidency. But it will not be enough to put President Mahama at the presidency with the small majority that he had in the last election. In fact, NDC had a majority in the last election. I believe strongly that John Mahama won the election. See the number of times they had to change the results. See what happened in Chitma South. See how A4 sheets, instead of the polling, the EC's documents were used to even announce some candidates as winners and so on. This time, we should not leave it to a majority of 5 and so on, so they scale it back to equal. Let us go all out and give him a 2/3 majority, because he needs to be able to act, not just be president. It is not enough for him to show up at the presidency. It is even more important that he's given the tools to work so that he delivers for Ghanaians and saves Ghana from the mess that we are in. And I want to implore our CPP friends, let us have that alliance where we can lean against or lean on. Let us do so in the interest of Ghana. See your colleague in NDC, strike a deal. Dare you, strike a deal with us. The alliance for change is here with the umbrella. Come under the umbrella. Under the umbrella. The only thing to vote for is the umbrella that will cover Ghana and take Ghana. Don't forget about numbers. Yes, the number 1 position that the NPP wanted, and the EC granted them even in our own eyes fraudulently. We saw the balloting fraudulently, so they can be at number 1. Do not spoil any ballot. When you take the sheet, look out for the umbrella. Look out for the umbrella and thumbprint sideways like that, just in the box, the open box, not on the face, not on the umbrella, just next to the umbrella, and then you will have secured Ghana its future. CPP, do same. Alliance. Alliance. They say movement. Alliance.
It's a movement.
Alliance.
Quite the end to Mr. Derek's submission there on this particular topic. But let me come to you, Mr. Solomon Owusu.
Yes, it's very interesting how the Supreme Court decided on a very straightforward matter to go and kill another bird, an issue that has been thorny in our body politic. I believe they did not answer the real issues that were before them, but rather decided to deal with an issue that is so dear to my heart, which is the whipping system we have in our parliament. If you read their ruling carefully, all that they are saying is that when someone goes to parliament, he does not represent a political party, and that he is there to serve the interest of this country. And so when the person decides to say cross carpet, the party on whose ticket he or she went to parliament cannot just say that he is no more a member of their party. and that the person declaring the intention of crossing or leaving the party must take steps to take himself out of that political party. And in effect, it is for me very important that this business of political parties stripping their members in parliament is what this ruling addresses. They themselves agrees with us, because we have set time with that number, that the Article 97 1J and H does not lack any clarity, and they confirms it. That indeed, that bogus argument put forward by the Attorney General could not hold, that the actions of these MPs are futuristic. How can it be futuristic? What is in doubt? That today Mamle Morrison says, I am going to contest the next parliament as an independent candidate. She goes to parliament as an independent candidate, and you are coming to tell us that, look, you used to be with the MPP, so you don't qualify to be here. Does it make sense to you? Indeed, their actions and inactions take effect with the current session of parliament. But you see, their only shortcoming is to satisfy what I call the MPP's position, that in spite of the clarity in 97, they say that decision or the authority to declare someone as having crossed to join another party or to become an independent party must come from the people that elected the very person. How do the people do that? Is there anything in doubt that as we speak, Obuafo Asante is no more a member of the MPP? Can the Supreme Court convince anybody by their rulings that Obuafo Asante can still do business with the MPP? The answer is an emphatic no. So clearly they should have gone straight away to agree with the Speaker of Parliament and say that the seats are vacant. There is nothing in doubt about that. See, I am a victim of the MPP's constitution. And mind you, MPP is not a private institution, neither is NDC or any political party. All political parties are public institutions. NPP's constitution, nobody has gone to court. The party itself has not gone to court to say that the Article 391 of the constitution is void, to the extent it's not consistent with the provisions in the 1992 constitution, and to that extent that provision is void. Who has said that? Neither has Afenyo Markins and his people come to apologize to all of us that their actions of November 2020 was an infringement of somebody's fundamental human right. There has not been any apology. Yes, you can make the argument that when they decided to write or petition Parliament or Speaker Michael Quay that Andrew Esiama had to be removed from Parliament by virtue of him going as an independent candidate, no one challenged it in court. But you see, common sense is common sense. When the thing is black and white, let it remain so. And not let us try to please anyone. Like he rightly said, the survival of this ruling lies in the future. I have said that if you read carefully their ruling, it advantages Mr. Alan Chomante. Clearly. Because you see, one of the campaign propaganda going around in the villages against the next president of the land, Mr. Alan Chomante, is that he does not have parliamentary candidates. Is that not the case? Particularly from our brothers from the New Patriotic Party. That as a president, he will require majority of his ministers coming from parliament. Is that not the case? And so, using their whip system, when Mr. Alan Chomante appoints any member coming from their parties, they would whip their members in line and tell them to, as it were, decline invitation. With this ruling, all that MPs need to do when you are named or nominated by Mr. Lanchamanti is to say you are going as an independent candidate. Will the parliament be able to declare the seats vacant? The answer is an emphatic no. So you will be in parliament, you will be a minister without your seat being declared vacant. I'm telling you, if this ruling had come early enough, Mr. Lanchamanti would have had a lot of the MPs in the NPPs like openly campaigning for him. Because we have more than half of the MPs campaigning for Mr. Lanchamanti secretly. That is the truth of the matter. And they know it. In fact, they are doing skirt and blouse campaign. That vote for Mr. Lanchamanti and vote for rest. And that is why I believe the Supreme Court, per the majority decision, does not represent the true meaning of Article 97. Yes, they have been given the mandate to interpret, but does it not even strike you, bless, that Parliament makes law, but they don't have the right to interpret? Does it make sense to you? You that is cooking the food, you don't have the right to interpret the components of the food. It's something that going forward we must begin to have a second look at it. That you cannot make a law. Then on what basis are you making the law? So you make laws without you understanding it. But someone that they don't make the law understands it better than you.
That's absurdity.
Absurdity is something that we need to go. That is why the separation of powers should have been maintained in this instance. In terms of whether or not the Supreme Court had the jurisdiction to hear this matter, I disagree with those that say they did not have the jurisdiction. I agree with them. You see, it's just like Kolebu. You know, Kolebu is a referral hospital. But people go to Kolebu straight away without being referred. You can walk into Kolebu and you have your, as it were, your diagnosis. But the interpretation that you have given to it is so bad that it will not stand the test of time for all of us. Now, as part of this whole issue, people that are supposed to be prominent in this country have made certain pronouncements that saddens my heart. Now, you don't know whether adults are behaving as adults or is it because of greed that is permeating our society. This morning, I will take two personalities and appeal to their conscience. Former President John Ejekunkufo and Reverend Professor Mike Okoye. You see, if there was anybody that endeared my heart to be supporting the New Patriotic Party wholeheartedly, it was former President Kufuor. His demeanor, his ability then to speak the truth endeared me so much too. That was the more reason why in the year 2000 I had to sacrifice my whole body to go to Subayiri in the Jirapa Lambusie district as a student of KNUST to be a polling agent. I hadn't entered that terrain before. Because I believe that the then candidate Kufuor should lead this country and be the president to steer us into prosperity. You have had an opportunity to be the president of the land. You are done with your administration. So now you have moved beyond partisan politics. You are now a statesman. What was his business advising back then? Mr. Kufuor, with all this due respect, that was a bogus advice. I have withdrawn my services to him. I know more. He does not resonate with my thinking at the moment. That you know the truth. That these whole problems that we are facing as a country is coming from the New Patriotic Party that has been headed by Nana Akufo-Addo, who has trained some vagabonds in there, destroying the moral fiber of this country. And instead of you as a statesman to look straight into a party and tell them that, look, enough is enough. You would rather look somewhere else and say, Bagbe must what? Did Bagbe send anybody to court? Did Bagby not recall Parliament? Was it not this same majority that wanted Parliament to sit, that decided to boycott it when Parliament was in session? The second time that they themselves even petitioned for Parliament to be recalled. When Parliament was recalled, they were chilling in their cubicles. Do you know this fact, Mr. President? Yet you decide to turn deaf ears and eyes to this blatant truth and want to advise an innocent soul. Look, on this occasion, if there is anybody that has to be praised, it has to be Agban Bagben. I have read what Martin Amidu and Co are saying, and I find it laughable that Bagben is arrogant. Why is he arrogant? My friend, if you want to be the speaker, Martin Amidu, say you want to be the speaker. Don't try to be an envious person. There is nothing arrogant about the posture of Bagben. I have been a fierce critic of Bagben, but on this occasion, he is behaving well. So, former President Kufuor, for your information, I no longer see you as a statesman. I see you as a true MPP man. When you speak, I see you through that light. And yesterday or so, he granted an interview to Asempa FM. And he was saying that we should vote for Mahmoud Bawumia. Hey, President Kufuor, were you able to say this? When the economy has been destroyed beyond repairs, when you as an Ashanti, under your nose, this government has been able to put close to 1 million people in the poverty threshold, you sit on top of the mountain and tell us to vote for Mahmoud Bawumia? Hey! Why did we go wrong as a country? Look, if I had died in 2000 in Sobayiri for fighting for President Kufuor, that would have been the greatest mistake of my life. Knowing what I know today. Oh no, now if you are fighting for someone, try and do a lot of analysis. I don't consider him now as a statesman. Now I come to Professor Mike Okoye, the speaker that gave that ruling. He's also a reverend on top of it too. You understand?
A professor.
And a professor, constitutional professor. You gave us this ruling. You were called by Joy FM. That what is your position today? Did you hear what he said? He said, no. Agban Bagben must not toe his line at all. These are totally two different issues. Hey, Prof! Osofo! Now he was asked why the two issues are different. So, in this case, the New Patriotic Party wrote to him. So, if Bagben has not been written to, he must not give them that ruling at all. Hey! But when someone petitioned Parliament, what Haruna Iddrisu did, was it a love letter or it was just to draw the speaker's attention? What John Bodu did there, was he not drawing the attention of the speaker to a bad fact that Andrew Esiama had cross-carpet? In fact, he had declared the intention of contesting the next election by filing with the Electoral Commission. Based on that decision was taken. So what is the difference between these two? That's why I say that the elders we have in this country, they are becoming the reason why the moral fiber of this country is decaying day in and day out. In fact, we must put the blame on of our deteriorating situation on the doorsteps of these elders. They are not behaving as elders at all. At all, they are so disappointing. You take Ronaldo, so disappointing. Last time you listened to him at COP29. Hey! The man moved from Ghana to Baku, Azerbaijan. But he forgot himself that internet is everywhere. That we must protect our environment, leave a very good environment for the next generation with our policies. When you have supervised the destruction of our environment, you have few days to leave our televisions. See what he said? So the problems of this country is being engineered by the elders. And that is why it is weaving through every aspect of our moral fiber. Be it the Electoral Commission, be it the Supreme Court. And mind you, those of you that think that the Supreme Court judges are saints, they are never saints. They are as human beings as you and I. And what even disadvantaged them is that they were not born with the English language. The English language that is used to write this constitution is not their mother language. You see how they have shortchanged years. Can you imagine if this constitution was in our local language and we were explaining it better? If you want a true and better interpretation of this, we should have gone to the Buckingham Palace and given this to the king or queen, because it's their language. They say all of us don't understand the language that all of us learned from somewhere. So if you want a true and proper interpretation, why don't you go to the source for one of them to interpret it for you? This was the same Supreme Court that told us the birth certificates could not identify whether or not you were a Ghanaian. These courts we have, the sort of rulings that are coming out from these courts, any ruling that defies common sense, common logic, is not ruling. So the operationalization of their ruling, in the coming days, you will see the absurdity in it. That you can say that you are going as an independent candidate and still belong to a political party. So for instance, in Zoom, what they are saying is that Obuafo Kwadwo Asante can still be attending MPP meetings.
And he should.
He should. How does it work? How does this work? Let us be truthful to ourselves. Let us apply the laws of the land equally. If it is going against your favorite party, it doesn't matter. It's Ghana that we are building. Not because Afenyo wants to still be the majority leader. Why? Was he born with a majority leader seat? That's parliament. Definitely he will be in minority. I'll be very surprised if the MPP will maintain him as the minority leader. I'll be very surprised. Maybe the CPP will also join the free and be in parliament. And when you are in parliament, after all, you will have the last of being appointed by Mr. Lantremati, because you look at bringing the country together. I entreat my brother Derek, together with this NDC, to, as it were, join the alliance,
The umbrella.
for the revolution of this country. Where we have gotten to, we need revolution, not just reset. It's a revolution and transformation. We need to transform the minds, and that's why when you read our GTP, there is a section that talks about behavioral and mindset change. If we don't reorient our people, look at what is happening with the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah. So what Nanado has been able to do is to set up an institution to rig this election, so that Electoral Commission will do something untoward, and where would you go? Is it on the Supreme Court? If on a simple matter of straightforward interpretation we are being handled with this, can you imagine what they will do with any election petition? As for my candidate, Allah, he will not even dream of going to court. For you to do what? We will win this election at the polling station with the last blood and breath in us.
Right.
I'll end my submission.
Right. Thank you very much, Solomon Owusu. I've received a number of messages. Let me do a few of them and then I come to Mr. Afari. Good morning, Bless. Why have... Okay. Good morning, Bless. Why have you stopped discussing the Japade? All these are happening because of it. I'll be surprised to see the Speaker obeying this rule. Then he's not a man enough to defend the Constitution that puts him there. Okay, you didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from. Good morning, Bless. Supreme Court is one of the institutions that's supposed to protect our Constitution, but because of politics, they have turned otherwise. What a shame. Nuruddin inside Tamale. Thank you, Nuruddin, for your message. Bless, good morning to you all. Parliament should stop vetting the judges. In fact, my deepest respect to former President Kufuor has gone down drastically. Mohammed said Tamale Central, to be precise. Thank you, Mohammed, for your message. And this one here also says, good morning, Pan-African TV. I really like this solo guy. He always expresses the truth in a comic way. Abdul Latif from Wa. Thank you. Good morning to you, my brother, and to your panelists. I'm really following your discussion and share the same view with Solo, that is the people who make the laws and about why the people who make the laws don't have the power to interpret it. A lot needs to be corrected in the Constitution. Adika Richard from Adafienu in Denu. Thank you, Adika, for your message. Hussein Isani Turawa says that, good morning, Bless, and your panelists. The ruling by the Supreme Court was to satisfy Akufo-Addo, his Attorney General Godfrey Dame, and the crybaby Afenyo Makin, but Supreme Courts today have become useless and laughable in the eyes of the general public, and shameless Supreme Court. Good morning to you. All right, thank you, Sani Turawa from Asamankese, for your message. Our Supreme Court is the only court in the whole world whose ruling are always at variance with our national constitution. Kweku from La Paz. Okay, thank you, Kweku. This one here also says that, good morning, Bless. My name is Isaac from Ho. Kudos to the gentlemen on the panel, on the panel for their truthful contributions to the development of Ghana. I'm not a lawyer, but as a Ghanaian, it's possible that the ruling of the Supreme Court 3 days ago be ignored. If not, can there be a political party representation as a PC in Parliament once one can cross carpet without any punishment? I think the country is quietly being forced into one-party states. Let's rise up. Isaac, thank you for your message. Good morning, Africa. Please, per the Supreme Court's reasons given to their ruling, is the case now political or constitutional? I ask because their reference is about a person belonging to a political party changing to another. Isn't that politics? If no, then what is it? Also, did the statement in the Constitution on vacation of a seat not indicate that a member was? Is MPP and their grandmother in the Supreme Court now telling us that was means the future? Hey, grandmother, I beg you, I take that back. I take that back. I beg you. Zaire from Boga, you sent this one. Let me do some two more, then I come to Mr. Farid. Good morning, Bless. I express my thankfulness to Mr. Solo of the Movement for Change. He has made my day with his submissions. Okay. So when will Article 97 be applied? Why is this MPP group turning everything in this country upside down? You didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from, but let me come to Mr. Afari. He said he's already shared an opinion on this particular matter. Does it include what the Supreme Court put out yesterday?
Partly.
Okay.
Well, good morning to our cherished viewers and then to all CPP members across the country. You know, for me, as a member of CPP, I find this whole thing quite interesting. My opinion has been that we didn't need the drama in Parliament right now, and I'll explain why. My brother Solo here is a member of the Movement of Change, same as Alhaji Boniface Sadiq. Bless, you know, Alhaji Boniface Sadiq was a member of the 3rd Parliament as an independent candidate. And then in the 4th Parliament, he came to Parliament as an MP for the MPP. So already there have been precedent in Parliament. And Alhaji Boniface recently has also joined the Movement of Change. Those kind of political transitions. Maybe we will come to the substantive matter. My brother here from the NDC, you know, the last election, the PNC member of parliamentary candidate for Sisala East, was lawyer Kingsley Canton. In the current campaign, he is the NDC parliamentary candidate for the same constituency. In the last campaign, that was 2020, he was a PNC parliamentary candidate. Lawyer Kingsley Canton.
For which constituency?
For Sisala East.
Sisala East.
Yes. He's here with me.
Does that include Tumu?
Yes, that's Tumu.
No, I don't think so.
No, you can check.
No, I don't think so. I know the NDC's parliamentary candidate for that constituency.
Please check. It doesn't need to be either East or West, but he's an NDC
parliamentary. West is Suparu.
Then please check currently.
East, he lost. No, East. So the person that represented the NDC in Sisala East in 2020, I think he lost with.
No, I'm saying Kingsley Canton was the PNC parliamentary candidate in that constituency, and this time around he's the NDC parliamentary candidate. Please, you can check.
I'll check.
Okay. in, was it 2016, Ebi Bright,
Yes, I know Ebi Bright.
Temasendra, was being campaigning, well, we were campaigning as a CPP parliamentary candidate. In the final analysis, she just shifted and actually filed for...
And Bataglia, that's his name. Bataglia is the NDC's parliamentary. I'm sure it's a different constituency you're talking about.
Oh, no, you check the Caesar later. You realize that Kingsley is there. Now,
Sure.
so you see, as I'm saying, the movement of change, we can make reference to Alhaji Boniface. In the NDC, I wish there was an MPP candidate here. Honorable Blay was a CPP, Freddie Blay was a CPP member of
the Honorable.
The Right Honorable Freddie.
The Right Honorable Freddie
The
Blay.
one
Was
whose
a,
sons have taken the beachfront and the estuary to the beach lagoon.
so I thought you were going to give me the chance. You want me to talk? Give me the
He's the
space.
same man who
He's the same-
claims the traditional council.
Well, I don't know about
Daily Guide.
that. I miss Honorable Blay
Yes.
was a CPP member of Parliament.
But he knows that traditional councils don't own land. Yet he sent his son to go and buy land.
Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. And he became a deputy speaker. Before we say Jackie Beam, MPP national chairperson, I wish to ask, we're making reference first and foremost to the party's constitutions, which Solomon rightly said that we deposited to the EC.
But you know, even
So people, Derek, you are not being fair. You are not being fair.
Member, and he was made running mate.
Solomon was.
Seriously, he wasn't a party member. He didn't have a party card.
Did you resign from the MPP before you joined the movement of change?
No, he was sent. He was
It's
sent.
automatic.
He was sent.
No, according to their constitution,
So
it's automatic.
you see, the point is that these parties, and the reason why Ghanaians need to give a lesson here to the CPP, we've always remained true to ourselves. I will explain. You see, I'm coming. I was just trying to build a ground, and then we can proceed from there. When people shift from one camp to the other and it favors them, they are okay, they are quiet. You see, when Honorable Makoko was making a mistake in Parliament, whether it was a mistake or not, that declared Honorable Siama, then NDC kept quiet at that time. Because the numbers didn't really favor anybody. Honorable Haruna Idrisu was a leader in Parliament. He didn't raise the issue.
Because it was correct.
No, wait,
according to their constitution. There was nothing to post.
Yes, no, but I mean, to be fair.
There was nothing to post.
No, I'm saying, I started by saying that Honorable Boniface Sadiq had transitioned from independent to a political party in successive parliaments. It was okay. That's a precedent in Parliament. It's parliamentary record. Nobody had any issue with it. When Honorable Makoko was making the decision on Honorable Isiama the first instance, everybody was okay, everybody was quiet, because at that time the numbers didn't matter to anybody.
Yeah.
You get me. I feel that a strong precedent was a wrong precedent was sent that time, was established that time. It was a political party that wrote to Parliament. You see the problem? If a political party can write to Parliament and instruct Parliament to take certain decisions, which they went ahead to do. Now we think that when Supreme Court is also, they have even carried it to Supreme Court. That one is a problem. So you see, the hypocrisy runs across. If something is wrong, it should be wrong at every instance. It shouldn't be wrong or right when now it's favors. You see, this whole charade is because if this thing is revoked, it affects the numbers. And because we have a hung parliament, then DC doesn't mind sacrificing one of their own. So that they can sacrifice 3 of the MPPs.
You agree? Yes. But I think this is chess.
No, but that is the game being played.
NDC is just, no. NDC is being damn right, forthright with Ghanaians. In the time that he was talking about Haruna, it was the right thing to do. And it's the right thing to do now, and Haruna has been consistent.
No, I'm saying that. See, apart from Honorable Boniface, we've had the likes of Hawa Yakubu. We've had even same Honorable Boniface from Sisala moved to Medina. So if it's whether we're looking at allegiance to the party or allegiance to the people, you could have it. So for me, I believe that this particular issue should have been brought not necessarily for this partisan interest, where people want to win majority or minority, need less of it because we are just about a couple of weeks to election. I don't know what majority or minority will do to any of the parties.
Majority,
but we would want to establish that on
means a
record.
lot. Oh. We need to stop Galamsey now. NPP is not ready to do anything about Galamsey.
My brother, I've been
is ready to do something now.
The Galamsey thing for well over 15 years. Let's see. It was NDC had made a mockery of that.
No, I'm talking of the airline. The airline.
No, even before the airline. I mean, the NDC had made mockery of their efforts to deal with Galamsey. NPP had that. The funny thing is that if you go and read the report of the NDC, NPP only came to replicate the same thing that the NDC.
No. Oh. There was no law allowing people to go into the forest reserve.
Yes, you have been involved in Galamsey for 15 years.
I've been involved in the advocacy against Galamsey. I've been involved in the opposition.
No, it is important. He's helped you. You know that he's helped you. You would have lost your election because anybody who is engaged in Galamsey does not have sound mind. No, but I'm just saying that you must be of sound mind to be an MP. And so if you are engaged in Galamsey, you cannot be an MP.
You are my friend.
No, I'm saying that he's helped you to clear your name.
When I said I've been involved in the fights against Galamsey. Is that okay? Yes. But you know I've shared even the works.
And you have not been involved in deforestation.
So
president of the water bodies.
Working. My last project was about a year ago when I was in the Western region.
But a year ago was when Akufo-Addo wrote that law that allows for mining in forest reserves.
When Mike Allen Hammer was the minister, I was involved. I was actually on the field with him.
No, you're not getting me. Said a year ago, and a year ago in November was when President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia put that law.
The hypocrisy by the NDC and
NPP. No, that's not NDC and NPP matter. Who wrote that law?
NDC was there.
No, I'm saying no.
Hypocrisy. No. I said the more I look at the model they use, I'm sending soldiers in the same thing done. Chasing people. It's the same thing. They didn't even.
But there was no law that allowed the president to allow mining in forest reserves and president of the rivers.
Did that particular law pass through? No, that law passed through Parliament.
No, but you see,
where your representatives there.
No. You see, that's where you go wrong. When an airline is laid in Parliament,
no, but you to
1 days after it becomes law, it doesn't mean
you're a nice man. I allowed you. You're quite handsome.
Oh, quite.
I allowed you to have your.
Anyway, never mind.
You see, my point is that in this particular case in Parliament, if you ask me, I would have wished that some of the civil society organizations, those in governance and those, would have brought the conversation to a better perspective so that we'll be able to look at all the incidents that have happened in and out of Parliament and then see that if indeed what Article 97 proposes or the instructions that it gives is applicable in, this is where my point comes in a current Parliament, because you see, if some will talk about futuristic decisions or whatever it is, this was my understanding. In the 8th Parliament, I have 4 years mandate. If within that 4-year Parliament, I've had an issue with my party and decided I no longer share in their principles, in their values, in their ideologies, so I would want to refrain from my continued membership with that party. That's the issue of allegiance and stuff comes in here. So then we'll look at it from that perspective, whether it's applicable. In that 4-year, then it means that the speaker or somebody, maybe I don't even think it's the speaker, somebody will go and challenge my allegiance or my status in Parliament at the High Court. If a decision is made, the High Court then writes to Parliament that because of this decision or that decision, this seat have to be declared vacant. That is my understanding. So that it would have followed the proper legal channels before a decision is made. You see, the MPP's problem is, which I don't know why it was a problem, because when Professor KOKU was doing it, he did it in open. He declared the vacancy in the open house. So if Right Honorable Bagman was going to do the same, then I didn't know why they had a problem. Is it because somebody wrote a letter? Then somebody also raised an issue. As a matter of fact, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu' issue was in Parliament. He also raised it to draw the Speaker's attention to the issue. Perhaps what I would have wished that is the Speaker would have instructed for the right processes to have been followed before he making his pronouncement, because he's a lawyer. Then we wouldn't have even had an issue. Then this is issue in Amenfi Central. It's because of this similar issue when people are challenging membership. Right, that's the one contesting does not qualify by the party's constitution to contest. That is what went to court, if I'm right. So, you see, these things are happening. That's what I'm saying. It's not like because it's in Parliament, then it becomes a problem. It's been happening across board. If a CPP member within less than 4 years becomes a chairman or an acting chairman of MPP and then becomes a chairman, then you ask yourself, when was he a member of the MPP? So, when these things happen outside, but we should be looking at or be studying this trend. It's been happening. 4 people could be identified in Parliament who had such transitions. Okay, Parliament didn't have a problem. As I'm saying, when Honorable Isiama's issue came, now we should ask ourselves right now, when Honorable Isiama's issue came during Professor Bakokwes, the General Secretary wrote that he was no longer a member, right? Okay. Now, what qualifies a member of an MPP to contest as a parliamentary candidate? Because if at that time to now it's less than 4 years, yes, then how did he qualify again to become an MPP member to be able to contest?
Maybe the rollback.
No, maybe he's transgender.
Whether he's transgender,
that he's been with the party before.
No. What I'm saying is that
I understand you. I very much understand you.
The party wrote to Parliament,
yes,
House of Records, that this person is no longer a member of our party, for which reason you should let him vacate his.
Yes.
And they went ahead to pronounce that, and he was out. He went to his people. They brought him back to Parliament. He is still in Parliament. Now going to contest. So that's what I'm saying. The letter that the MPP General Secretary wrote to Parliament, what effect does it have right now? The precedent it created. You see, that's what I'm saying. That these two parties, and now the yellow
draw us in. It is MPP that wrote the letter. We haven't written it.
But then also maybe the party's constitution could say that, look, fine, if you leave the party or if you contest our candidate, you have automatically forfeited your membership of the party. However, if you decide to return in future, you've been a member of the party before, they could add those years back. And see if it amounts to, I think it's 4 years. It should be no less than 4 years.
Well, I'm saying look at that scenario. NDC had been in court recently, just this week, because of a similar issue. Perhaps, that's why I'm saying that there should be a study. Okay, for us to look at this phenomenon of people shifting here. The next day you see Alote Jacob as a regional chairman. The next minute he in his transition he comes and says that he's a how do we call it?
Transgender.
No. Why do you like transgender? A political analyst. And then you see I've had this problem. Hobson. When he started making his revelations, you see, this is deeper than what we are thinking. His revelations about the NPP, if you ask me, I thought it was political maturity, and it's very dangerous for our politics.
I mean, it's espionage, eh?
Yeah, maybe espionage.
Because you see, you have people so much deep within their parties, and then the next minute, they say they fall out, and then there's no law, there's nothing that holds them. Then they start making certain revelations, whether they are true or not. Look at the repercussions it has, not only on that party, but generally. Then people don't trust politicians. Because you were in, the person says, when we planned bombs, we did that. Like,
but if it is wrong, it is wrong.
No, at that time, when he said he was...
So the system must kick in. The security services must kick in. They must arrest him. They must interrogate him.
He was arrested.
Sarah Brody must be brought back and interrogated. That's that lesbian girl that claims to be the president's girlfriend. Yes, she's lesbian. The girlfriend, the alleged girlfriend,
are making a lot of allegations.
No. She says she's a lesbian. Sarah Brody says she's a lesbian. Sarah Brody and Husadoye said he was the girlfriend of the president, and that he traveled with her countlessly on the plane.
You see the danger in
national security. These are all serious allegations before the CID, and the CID has done nothing about it to date.
Don't worry.
Those are the issues.
Please write to the CID boss.
Me?
Yes.
All right. Are you not interested?
No, you have a problem. I don't.
Wait.
Wait.
You're interested in the issue.
No.
Okay. Go.
No. My point is that
But do you have a problem with someone crossing carpet and also exposing that party?
how do we vouch for the truth?
But the party, that's why you have the law court. And if you think
You see, this is a hypocrisy here. When Hobson Adoye started making his revelations and he was arrested, with all sincerity, Honorable Alan Chamantin made certain pronouncement in support of Hobson. He didn't see anything wrong with what Hobson had done. He doesn't know.
No.
You see, the last time I saw his team, Hobson was the one
I disagree
driving the lead vehicle.
That's why I asked you a simple question. Whether you have a problem with people leaving a political party and joining a different one. Because the constitution gives you that right.
No.
So
see,
what
it is not just crossing capital.
But what did Hobson say that you believe is not true?
I don't know whether it's true or not.
That is why you must not be the person canvassing for otherwise.
You see, when I'm talking about Hobson, you see how you're defending it right now.
You are
because
going by candidate.
Of course, your candidate came to defend Hobson.
Of course. What did my candidate say?
I thought you said, of course, means you admit.
No.
Yeah, because
let me defend Hobson for 1 second. Are you saying that you've not seen the videos of Sarah Bruni? You've not heard Sarah Bruni when she went to the
CID?
No. It's Hobson did Sarah Bruni. Hobson was the one who said he was giving them money. The money was given.
You see the lead. You see the lead role.
Hobson is bound. So they should be bound by confidentiality.
No, we come here.
CID must give its recommendation. That's what you're saying.
So members of
was it not
No, you see, I'm not picking on one person. I'm saying that.
picking on Hobson.
Oh no, I didn't only mention Hobson.
I see no.
I'm talking about the danger our politics.
That is not danger.
I don't see danger. The question of the CID just bringing the danger in your mind.
Hobson is
I am saying
Hobson is.
Are you happy with Koko Anyido? Listen. Are you happy with the announcement of Koko Anyido against you?
Listen. Let me tell you something. You are dealing with Hobson. Let's finish with Hobson. We can go to. Hobson's issue can be cleared by the Blame is stealing my land. Blame is stealing my land.
I'm saying
at the trade fair and so on.
You see,
don't bring
we the politicians need to demonstrate.
He's stealing the question are good. Don't bring.
But you have a lot of examples from the CPP to even hammer on how to come to Hobson's side.
That's what Hobson is. The CID. The CID must have concluded the investigation by now on the.
Did they not take him to court?
That is when we will know for a fact.
Can I continue now, gentlemen? Thank you very much.
Hobson.
No, I'm continuing my trajectory. But what I'm saying is that
you do 4 years before you became running mate. Deal with that one too. No, you are dealing with various people who have not done their 4 years.
I didn't know. You said he was not a politician. So why should I be a non-politician?
You need to be 4 years in order to qualify. Yes. So he didn't qualify. Can we go back and say that
you go and sue the MPP for allowing the MPP?
I see.
You will do that. The same.
Like me and you're the three of us.
I'm not interested.
The alliance can do that.
No, you see,
Please continue.
What I'm saying is that it's becoming a phenomenon. We started from somewhere, but we overlook it. Now, it's hurting our constitution. It's hurting our governance structure. Because see, where we've had a coalition between legislative and the judiciary because of this matter. But I'm saying this is not the first time it's happening though. In this particular one, there are interest. Because if it's upheld, somebody has the benefit of this. But when it happened the other time, because the number was not so significant, well, they allowed it to go. Now, the other problem is that, you see, when something goes to Supreme Court and they make a pronouncement, then it becomes difficult to deal with it. When, if it's not properly upheld. Because right now, we were asking for the interpretation. The Supreme Court says this is our interpretation of that particular clause within the Constitution. This is how we interpret it right now. Then you look at all the people that we could identify with. Would you call all those infractions? We say Parliament is a house of records. So all the people that we could identify, in time past who had gone through that process, are we going to then write them from our books? Of course, we say our law does not take a retrogressive effect, right? So we are going to be guided by, like my brother is saying, he said something that was quite preposterous. See, that when Alan comes and he needs MPs, well, what the Supreme Court is saying right now, that if any MP wants to take a position from Alan and is from another party and he declares himself independent, that seat has to be declared vacant.
No.
They are saying, this is what they're saying.
That's not what they're saying. That is not what they are saying, that parties cannot by their own declare someone as not fit to be in parliament. That is their position.
Okay.
And if this sounds what you may,
there's an answer. See, when an MP, with all apologies, passes, and then we need to replace him, does the party appoint somebody because they want the seat? Do they appoint somebody to replace?
No, you have to go to an election.
We have to go back to the people.
Yes.
When a seat becomes vacant by any other, we have to go back to the people. You don't go to the party that won it previously and it says because you won it, you need to. That is why you see that letter that MPP wrote to Parliament, to Honorable Michael Quay, that set a very bad and wrong precedent. And that's what I'm saying, that when it happened, we all looked on. Now, Honorable Gwagwin also decided to go on the same tangent, and then we raised red flags. Well, unfortunately, you see, the two dissenting judges at the Supreme Court did not their dissenting views were not directly in response on the substantive issues.
They didn't come properly.
No. You see, once they dissented, they can't go into the substance.
So my point is that, you see, that's why I'm saying that if perhaps we know the legal rules, if you want to declare a seat vacant, it has to be legally done. So that's why you need to go to the Supreme Court. My problem with them is that, see,
you have to do
the High Court. I mean, the High Court. My problem is that the challenge was not about. The speaker was going to make a ruling, which how do you call him? The crybaby.
Afenyo marking.
It was going to be unconstitutional. Was supposed to be unconstitutional.
You live just here. You let her cry.
You know he's MP in my other hometown. One of these days I'll have to sit in there.
He was going to follow a certain, and then he felt it was going to be unconstitutional, for which reason he went to the Supreme Court. So there are two instances here. The speaker declaring the seats vacant, whether it met the legal requirement or he had the legal impetus to be able to do so, and then two, asking whether it's even the clause he's trying to invoke, what it really means and how to apply that. Okay, so then the question would even be is that if that clause had allowed the speaker, then would the speaker be needing for the Supreme Court, the High Court, to make a judgment before he makes a pronouncement? All these are issues that have to be properly studied and given what the lawyers will call legal jurisprudence.
But what is the position of the CPP on this whole matter? Because I've not heard you, neither your leader. What is your position on this matter?
Well, the legal committee of CPP hasn't made any pronouncement yet. I believe that they are studying everything that's happened. But if you look, you take it from, we've seen this thing happening.
Even if a Quadron party have a legal position on this matter, so please, CPP, hurry up.
We will do it. But it's better to make an informed decision as a party for us to know, because we have been victims before. If our former, now we can't even call him our former member of Parliament, I mean Honorable Blay.
A lot of people, but you are the reason that other political parties are surviving. Most of these leading members of now NDC and MPP are from the CPP.
You see, that's why we are having a problem as a country. You see, the CPP is ideologically grounded.
But even
in our understanding, he went to let. You see, that is the hypocrisy we have with all of you.
Which one is that?
You see, they live in the values,
the ideology.
Yes, I say they live in the principles, the values, and ideology of the CPP.
Yeah, so I agree with the CPP when it comes to focus on government, state-owned institutions, and private sector led. I am a private sector oriented. So on that basis, you can't say I'm a hypocrite.
Wait.
But your word hypocrisy is very strong to reflect the truth. You see, listen, there are different variants of being socialist. Okay?
Exactly.
So in one breath, that's the ideology. You can have different strains.
Is
of
there
the
any
same
socialist?
Social democrat.
So you are not socialist.
We are not socialists in,
Yeah,
in the sense that you may be communist. Communism is not socialist.
We are not.
So
we are socialists.
We believe in social good. Now you see, I want us to tell.
Why do you want the next topic?
No, I want us to tell.
Well, now that you are entered into the communism and
The point is that most of you that claims to have come from the CPP, to have learned from the CPP, to are looking into the CPP, to be in love with the CPP, that you've drifted. You are not being guided by any entrenched ideology.
So you a different ideology.
Wait. You claim that so you are not CPP.
We are not, but
you are not. You are not. You are not closer. How close are you to us? A capitalist party says that they are doing free SHS, which is a pure socialist.
That's in the constitution that they didn't help to draft. You see, the constitution. The constitution
has granted president of state policies.
That's free SHS.
At the point when this 1992 constitution was being drafted.
I think just give me 1 minute.
Which I say.
Can I get this one?
So don't go into your yellow book.
Can That's 1 minute. That's 1 minute.
Do you want me as a civil person tell all the policies you have in this one? You are just copying us and you copy right.
How can we copy?
You have an alliance movement. Alliance.
You have deviated from the core values of CPPs.
Listen.
I just ask you a simple question. What is your position on this Supreme Court matter? CPP has no position.
The position what? Listen.
The matter is ongoing. It's live.
The legal fraternity.
You want that?
The legal.
Look at Article 25.
I'm saying the legal. I didn't say the judicial.
Excuse me. Look at Article 25.
I will read it.
It is very clear what the position of Ghana in terms of the constitution is on free SHS.
Which is captured in the Declaration plan.
It starts with. Are you aware there is nothing? Hold on. Are you aware there is nothing Bezri?
I know.
That has been there for over several years.
So listen to the CPP policy.
Hold on.
And has been sustained
over 6 decades.
No. This is Supreme Law. This is Supreme Law. This is the Supreme Law.
We just launched it yesterday. So you said you saw it yesterday.
I saw people that I saw you were
We've been communicating. You see, it is not about the book. Carrying book. I'm not carrying any paper here.
But you don't have it.
No, you see.
No, wait, I'm coming. Pick one aspect of your own
gentleman.
Bring it out and let's see how we will because you don't have anything. Let's listen to it.
Let's listen to it. 5B says secondary education.
The nothing Bezri of the CPP is older than this constitution.
Secondary education in different forms, including
how different is it?
Professional education shall be made generally available and accessible to all by every appropriate means, and in particular by the progressive introduction of free education.
So free education.
It's a constitutional provision,
and that is what the NBC was implementing progressively until please. Please.
The
CPP Obodo says I should tell you this current CPP is not like the Kwame Nkrumah CPP. Obodo, he just said to me, I should tell.
I'll forgive you and
Mr. Fari,
I'm forgiving you, Mr. Fari, because I've not seen your Mr. Fari. You see, we in the CPP understand what it means to offer free education. It's not just by word of mouth. And I'm saying that the most sustained government policy in the history of this country is our Northern Boundary. Way back in Nkrumah's time, and the thing is still sustained. So we understand it very well.
Very well. Granted.
Thank you very much.
We agree that Nkrumah started.
So what I'm saying is that fundamentally,
education.
No,
we agree.
The ideological stance that has shaped our policies for a very long time has been that of the CPP. They try to learn
and they try to re-modify it and get it wrong.
You see, listen. Mr. Ferry, please. Movement. No, Mr. Ferry. Can I just 30 seconds? Just 30 seconds, please. You see, just 30 seconds. I just want to. I want to. Please. You are letting our ideologies. Let us think. Mr. Ferry, don't take anything to heart.
And then we are asking Supreme Court to interpret the law. We have our ideology.
What is it?
Mr. Dio,
you don't know CPP.
I don't know. Mr. CPP, can we make progress? I am saying that.
No, see, our ideologies are well documented. Our programs and policies are well documented. I'll get you. I'll forward one to you before you leave this.
Mr. Ferry,
You just wrote.
Should I give you one for you to read?
Mr. Ferry, I'm saying that can we make progress? I am granting you the fact that
the outcome of the program is sitting here. Time on the floor.
No. You know you've gotten more than
Yes, 40 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, seriously?
Yes. So please, can I make progress?
You never been interjecting.
Listen. I am granting you the fact, and these are facts.
Thank you.
CPP did very well under Nkrumah. In setting the pace, the 7-year development plan, etc., and it was truncated by the NPP and so on. Now, free education was started in those days in the Northern Territories and so on.
Targeted education,
targeted.
So that it can be progressive and be able to have impact. It has produced John Mahama and Dr. Abaumia.
Can we make progress? In 1992, we crafted unto ourselves a constitution as the supreme law that will govern Ghana, and we indicated that free education, after looking at FQ, that's the basic education level, that free education shall become progressively free at not just the secondary level, but even tertiary, and that lifelong education proceed further. Look, this is a comprehensive document.
Which was learning from CPP.
Please.
Yeah, so
I was in government, and I'm telling you, take my facts.
In 1992.
And you can make reference to the constitution.
92. Are you talking about 92 or recently?
2009 to 2016.
Right. Okay.
I was in charge of the youth sector. I was deputy CEO for the National Youth Authority. And I'm saying I have a passion for it. And I'm saying that they still owe me my ESB. Akufado owes me. That's what he used to chase Sawaboni. But that's fine. He can use it. But the point I'm making is this. We were implementing free education progressively as the constitution says.
Learning from the CPP.
We have moved on.
No, see, I want you to state the fact that you were learning from the CPP.
By your time is even
Just 30 seconds.
Thank you so much.
We have moved into the tertiary level. When we say we are introducing free,
that's a promise in your current manifesto.
Mr. Ferry.
You did it to me, so one time I'm also trying to put information into yours.
The free stress. When you are going into the tertiary and you don't have the money, it should not be a barrier. And that is what President Mahama is guaranteeing you. He's guaranteeing the nursing training, teacher training, etc. What he promised before that was miscommunicated. We have moved these and migrated them from secondary status to tertiary so that you can have access to the student loan. What's the point in having you have a quota? Because we are giving the thing to you as a grant. And therefore limiting the number of nurses and teachers, etc. When we are so please look, join the alliance. Come under the umbrella.
You people are trying to propagate diluted ideological perspectives on politics and programs. So you implement the NDC, the you people are also learning.
I mean,
so you want to do
We're saying you are showing me a 1-year-old document. I'm a CPP member. I will give you 1961. What are you doing? Do we have what?
I'm reading on Facebook.
Shall we let's respect the viewers. Please, shall we respect the viewers too? Let's respect the viewers.
Ken Williams says, hi, host.
Why are CPP members always speaking in tongues to equalize or hold brief for the MPP anytime they misbehave? Let's see your ears.
This is not
fair. If you want us to take if you let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you want us to take you seriously as a political party rather than an appendage of the MPP, it is ironical to see Nkrumah speaking for a tradition that bombed, overthrew Nkrumah and banned CPP in 1969 and even destroyed everything Nkrumah did and stood for.
And he named
Williams said this one.
Shall we listen to the
as for the CPP, the little said the better, because both Alan and Cheddar will give CPP huge gap. Nkrumah's case is still working in his party because they sell out plenty. Okay, Eben from Prestia sent that one. Good morning, host. Your panelists today have made the show very interesting. Okay, but I don't like the interjections. Okay, all right. Good morning, bless Mohammed Issa Bataglia. Mohammed Issa Bataglia. It's true. See, this is the constituency. I'm sure it's a different one. This is the NDC's. Yes, I know him. No, not Super.
Canton.
Super is Sisala West,
yes.
and Sisala East. I've been there personally, so I know.
Yeah.
I've been
Also
to.
there during last year.
I've been there personally, so he was the NDC's parliamentary candidate in 2020. He lost, and I think he's going back. He'll be contesting Chiana.
Parliament, don't worry. When it comes to Parliament, you will know.
Right. Let's do some more messages. This one says, "Good morning, bless. Please, can you and your panelists reach out to Dr. Baumia with regards to his stance on the LGBTQ plus as a running mate and a Muslim by religion?"
You know, he fed the free SHS people with weevils. It was on the news yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes, he and Napo was education minister. The two of them conspired to feed free SHS. Why?
You fed the
this one here
with a bad rice.
Right.
You forgive you.
Right. This one here says, "Bless, how do you vacate a seat if you don't occupy it and it's rather futuristic? Why do we have a by-election in the article? If it is futuristic, common sense is not common." Stephen from Kwabinya. Thank you, Stephen, for your message. Haruna Jibril says, "Bless, at this material moment, this election is about character, competence, and credibility, and I therefore call on all Ghanaians to vote Alan Chemanting number 7 because he stands tall regarding these qualities." Abu Bakari says, "Alan communicators are good." This one here says, "I like the NDC man. I'll move from MPP to NDC because of this man." Oh my goodness. As for Mr. Solo, he's my man.
How can you not vote for the movement?
Right. Abena Ampofo says, "Senior Sonny Rocky all the way." Suleiman Ali says, "Watching you live from Saba in Libya." Okay, thank you. Joseph Kujo or Kudaje says, "Good morning, bless. I think the National Commission on Civic Education should stop distributing the Republic of Ghana Constitution to pre-tertiary students. This is because a JHS student can read and understand 97, 1G and H and understand it very well. It doesn't need any interpretation." Patrick Ingeta says, "Good morning." Okay, Dark Roberts, "Good morning, bless." Okay, Fusaini says, "Good morning, bless, and your panelists. Bless, the ruling by the Supreme Court was to satisfy Akufo-Addo, his Attorney General Godfred Odame, and the crybaby Afenyo Markin." I think I've already read this one. Edward says, "It appears the Supreme Court are writing their own constitution, which is at variance with the national constitution. How do they understand the title of Article 97 1GH, tenure of office of member? They are not above the law." Isaac Duda says, "Good morning, bless. What the CPP man is saying is tantamount to disinformation and misinformation. He is there on the ticket of the MPP. We the viewers have seen that in him. Does he know where to move is? The talk of Sisala is. I mean, that was a mistake. That was an error. So, CPP, you have failed to espouse your ideologies in all fronts. You are not even confident to talk about what you stand for. CPP has been like this all these years, and this is what is failing this country. This CPP has failed to live up to the ideologies of Nkrumah, and this is the underpinnings of its failure." Abena Pokuaka. I'll read 2 more messages, then I'll wrap up. Good morning, Pan-African TV. Please, the 2 CDs note is missing on the market. That's what that one there is true. The 2 CD and 1 CD. I think they want to face it out.
Because of the commerce
image on it, yeah. But the argument also is that it was a commemorative, currency.
Truly African.
Right, good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Election Focus right here on Pan-African Television. We're coming to you from our studios in Abilimpi